What a moment in Samarkand. The 14-year-old Turkish prodigy, Yagiz Khan Erdogmus, held the world champion Gukesh to a draw in round 2 of the FIDE Grand Swiss. On paper, that's already a huge result. Everybody is talking about Gukesh missing a win earlier. But here's the kicker. Erdogmus had more than a draw in his hands. Let's rewind. After a long, tense battle, the position reached a razor-sharp point. Gukesh had been pressing all game, but then slipped. Erdogmus responded with Rook take f6, sacrificing the rook. And the game fizzled out to equality, because black rook would check forever now if white doesn't want to lose the a2 rook. But wait, that wasn't the only move. There was another, Rook G8. The commentators couldn't believe it. Judit Polgar shook her head. Immediate draw with Rook f6, but Rook G8? That keeps the game alive. Judit Polgar nodded. Magnus Carlsen would play Rook G8. Firouzja would play Rook G8. I would even play Rook G8. Why? Because Rook G8 wasn't losing. The computer still called it equal. But in practical play, against the world champion, with the very strong knight at c4, suddenly it's Gukesh who has to find the only moves to survive. And here's the thing about chess at this level. Equal doesn't always mean safe. Equal means you're still asking questions. And 14-year-old Erdogmus had the chance to ask the hardest question of all. Can the world champion handle this pressure? For example, let's see this line. Rook D7 seems like a logical move, and that might be what Gukesh calculated after he played Rook G1 to G7, the last move, but black would be already better. Now black king runs to E4. White plays king to B3 to kick the knight out of C4. But that would lose the game on the spot, because Rook to B8 check. King takes the knight, and then Rook G to C8 check, and checkmate next move. Instead, Erdogmus bailed out. Understandably, he'd been under fire for 30 moves, he was low on time, and a draw against the reigning world champion is already a career-defining result. But still, one move, one brave push of the rook to G8, and history might have been written. In the end, it finished peacefully. Gukesh drops half a point. Erdogmus walks away with the draw of his life. But the lesson remains. Sometimes the difference between glory and safety is a single rook move. Carlsen would have gone for it. Firouzja, too. Maybe even Gukesh himself, if colors were reversed. And who knows, next time Erdogmus might choose Rook G8. Because at 14, full of optimism, why settle for holding the world champion when you can beat him?